So most of us have been working from home since about March or April of this year. So we should all qualify to deduct our home office expense, right? Well, we're going to talk about that more today. Hi, my name is Chris Passmore with CPA Corner. So I've got good news and bad news here. Some of us will qualify for the deduction, but many people will not. And you know the reason why most people will not? Well, unfortunately, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2018, the act that reduced the tax rate for many people, also eliminated the ability for most people to deduct the cost of any home office expense. So let's talk about that. Who cannot deduct a home office expense that maybe used to 4 or 5 years ago? Well, that covers anyone who's classified as employee. So if you're a W-2 employee of your company and you get a regular paycheck from them, you cannot claim a home office deduction, and that was a result of the TCJA. So for all you folks, I'm sorry, even though you're working from home exclusively this year, you cannot deduct any expenses on your income tax returns. But who can deduct home office expenses? Well, this is going to be your self-employed individuals, your independent contractors, basically your gig workers. For everybody who is self-employed or independent, you can deduct home office expenses. So, what qualifies and what type of expenses are eligible to be deducted? Well, in order to deduct your home office expense, you have to have an area in your home, in your house, that is exclusively for work and it's used regularly. You can't claim that you sit on the couch and have your laptop on your waist and work, and that qualifies. You have to have a dedicated space in your home that is used for work. And also, this has to be your principal place of business. You can't have an office that is your mailing address where you meet with clients, but then you also work from home. This needs to be your principal place of business. So just to highlight, exclusive and principal place of business. If you meet both of those thresholds, then you can actually deduct certain expenses on your income tax returns. So what types of expenses can be deducted? Well, it's pretty much anything related to your house in a reasonable way. That could be rent, that could be mortgage, that could be insurance, that could be property taxes, repairs, utilities. One thing to note here, this isn't every single cost of your house or your apartment. So as an example, let's say that you have a person who comes and cuts your grass once a month. Since that is dedicated to an area outside of your house, which is presumably where your home office is, you can't take a percentage of that. But everything else that is generally for your house, you can apply a percentage of that expense to qualify your tax deduction. So to claim the home office tax deduction, there's two general ways to calculate the amount. The first is just the formal calculation of adding up all your expenses from the year. That would be taking maybe your rent checks for the 12-month period, your utility bills, any insurance payments, adding them up, and then figure out what percentage of your house is for your home office. So let's say, as an example with easy math, you have a 1,000 square foot apartment. You use an area that's roughly 100 square feet. That means you could use 10% of those qualified costs, such as rent, utilities, insurance, and take 10% of those costs over the year, and that would equal the amount you can claim as a tax deduction. Now, if that way sounds a bit overwhelming and difficult for you to track, there is also the simplified method. And what the simplified method does is it gives you a standard amount of $5 per square foot up to 300 square feet that you can claim. This way you don't have to track all the utility payments, internet, phone, everything else throughout the year. But again, it is limited. It is limited to $5 per square foot up to 300 square feet, or $1,500 a month. So You can see that because of the TCJA, unfortunately the home office deduction isn't as generous as it was in prior years, but there's still lots of folks out there who can take advantage of this and should be. So if you have any questions about your home office, whether you would qualify for this deduction, please leave me a message below and I'll get back to you. I hope you found this information useful, and I look forward to speaking with you in my next video.